Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing the top 10 Kickstarters for June for the comic book section on Kickstarter. So, very excited to be doing this video, and sorry I didn't do a video last month on this. I actually was setting up for my own Kickstarter, which is live right now, for my comic, Like Father, Like Daughter. It's about a high school girl. Father left her to become a full-time superhero. Everyone in the world loves him except for her, and then she inherits his abilities. We got a lot of cool features in this Kickstarter, a lot of cool tiers, variant covers, and one cool tier is actually if you back this up for $1, you get 8 indie titles digitally. So it's like getting pretty much comic books for free. So hopefully you guys could go support even at $1. Anything's appreciated. So I'll have that in the description below and in the below on the comments. Now before I get into the top 10, I do have a couple of friends who also have Kickstarters out right now, but I didn't want to be biased and put it in the top 10. I didn't feel like that would be fair, so this is kind of the honorable mentions, but also just the outside Kickstarters, so that I hope you guys could go check out. Now, the first one is actually Last Ember. My really good friend Brant is doing a Kickstarter for this. We actually have a crossover print, which is gorgeous, by Paper Cat, and this has Casey and Last Ember on it. And if you like the themes of Like Father, Like Daughter, it's similar in the regard that this is a teenage girl who just doesn't want her abilities, and it's a teenage girl who finds out she's a fire goddess, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you just love pure teen superhero comic books. So go check that out. Next up is my friend Dan, who has 2 issues in one for this Kickstarter, and it's his comic Big House Blues, which is a Texas prison of supervillains in this comic. And then we have Nigel Flood, who released The Squad, which is an Irish team of superheroes, which is pretty cool because I feel like there's so many American comics out there. It's always nice to get a different perspective from a different country for the superhero genre. So definitely go check those 2 out. Now, my last one before we get into the top 10 is Red Knight by Justin. Another kind of classic superhero type tale, but what's cool is the setting for this book is in Virginia. You know, we're so used to New York City and obviously Gotham and Metropolis, all these big cities, so it's kind of cool to kind of get a town version of a superhero tale, so definitely go check that out as well. Now, moving into the top 10, so let's get started. Number 10 for me is XCT Fractured Worlds. Now, there's a lot of reasons I put this on the list. I was mentioning how I don't feel like there's enough books out there that are just not American superheroes. So this is actually an Australian creator created this, and it's pure action. It's about these mystical creatures that we know and love from myth, and they come back to life to fight each other in a battle royale. Now, of course, in a series that is very action heavy, you want great artwork, and the artwork looks superb for this book. So definitely go check that one out, and that is number 10. Moving on to number 9, which is Blacking Out. So I am a fan of crime comic books. I do like a good noir type storyline, and you kind of could see that at least once in every Kickstarter top 10 that I've had. And also with this book, it's really nice coloring. It has some nice like oranges and yellows, which I really like to bring that atmosphere. And it's about an ex-cop looking for redemption in this crime-filled world of California. So I thought the artwork looked really good. Already it has a lot of backing on it, so definitely go check that one out, and that is number 9. Number 8 is called Spectress Sabanion. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but this is kind of delving into Egyptian mythology, where Cleopatra's top assassin comes back to life and has to figure out what they want to do with their life and go into the modern world. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know much about Cleopatra or the Egyptian world. I didn't even know there were assassins out to get her. So I thought that was interesting, and yeah, I thought it was kind of a cool bend type genre concept. And that is number 8. Moving on to number 7, I believe this is a book I've had on my list before, which is honestly a reason I have this on this list, is that the book is coming out so frequently, which doesn't happen a lot in indie comics, doesn't happen a lot in Kickstarters, and to get to a higher number in a superhero comic, or not a superhero comic, but a teen genre comic, and that is I hopefully pronounced this right, Miskatonic High, issue 7. And this is written by Mike Shee. And yeah, I'm really excited that I was able to back this one up, get to read this book. I've been very excited about it. I sadly missed out on the trade, but yeah, this looks great, and it's teenagers going up against Lovecraft monsters. So definitely a twist in the teen genre. And like I said, I think it's cool that indie book is already so far along and that they are releasing these Kickstarters so frequently. And I always think that's nice. Moving on to number 6, which is MERAKI, which I think I pronounced that correctly. And I always love supporting LGBTQ books, and I think it's always great that Kickstarter has a lot of them, and this is about Greek gods and LGBT heroes, and I definitely up my alley. And it's cool because I feel like Wonder Woman doesn't like totally delve into the LGBTQ themes that are very present in those books, so hopefully that this book will have a chance to kind of delve into those themes in Greek mythology. So that is number 6. Moving on to number 5, which is an anthology book for this list. I think it's the only anthology I have, and it's called Maybe Someday. And there's a lot of up-and-coming creators, a lot of creators you might have heard of in this anthology, so I'm going to look down to read off their names. But we have Ethan Sachs, who works for Marvel, Joe Caramagna, who does a lot of lettering for like every company, Rod Reyes, who does X-Men titles over at Marvel, Emily Pearson, who's done a lot of indie creators own stuff, which has been great, Eric Pilecki, who's actually the brother of Adrian Pilecki, who's done a lot of superhero TV shows, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we have Stephanie Phillips, who is just releasing very soon a Top Cow and Image book, and she won one of their, not workshops, but talent searches. So a really interesting group of people, and what really brought this high on my list is that it's an anthology about hope and the future of hope. So I think that's really a theme that it's perfect timing to have, and I really wanted to showcase that one. So that is number 5. Moving on to number 4, which is another up-and-coming publisher, which is Black Box's Militia. And this is a graphic novel, which I always think is nice to have for these Kickstarters. Just to get more than one issue is always nice. And what really brought me to looking at this is A, Chuck Dixon's on it. I am a fan of his Batman work. And then B, I don't feel like there's enough titles, or even not even just comic books, but all media that show women in the military. So I thought it was interesting that this is what this book's about, is a woman in the military. And the artwork looked really good, so that is why it's number 4. Moving on to number 3, which is just a really interesting concept, which is Questless. So most stories, especially like fantasy stories, start out with a kid or a teenager who has a quest, and they're like, me? What? I have a quest? What's going on? What makes me special? So it's kind of interesting that this book does the complete opposite. It's everyone has a quest, and that's what makes them special. And this girl's got nothing to do, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna find my own quest. And I just thought that was such an interesting concept and a really cool twist on the trope / cliche of that genre. So that is why Questless is number 3. Moving on to number 2, which is The Jump by Ryland Grant. And this is another concept I don't think is really talked about too much in comics, but it's like kind of obviously there, and that's astral projection. So it's a thriller astral projection series, and yeah, it's totally sci-fi. Again, I'm curious why it hasn't really been done too much in comics. So I mean, it's been done a little bit, but especially in an indie comic, I feel like we haven't gotten enough of it. And the artwork looked really good for this book, so that is why The Jump is number 2. Moving on to my number 1 pick, which is Miss Fury from Indiegogo, actually. It's not a Kickstarter, and that is Dynamite Comics. And the reason I put this here is, A, I was really looking forward to this book in general. I feel like this was actually posted in previews a while ago, so I don't know if they were like trying to go through Diamond first, and then decided to switch this up to a crowdfunding area, but there's a lot of cool stuff here. A, just Miss Fury in general is an interesting character. I really like that Dynamite obviously showcases these pulp heroes in more of a modern way. This is actually the first book that is female-led, written by a woman in comics, which is really interesting. And yeah, the Indiegogo, like I said, has some cool stuff. You got like raunchier covers, and then you got the regular cover, so there's opportunities to get maybe some collector items here, and just an interesting book. It seems like Billy is a big fan of Miss Fury, which is always great to see someone who's a fan of the character really want to write this series. He's also very involved in creator-owned slash crowdfunding projects. He has his own YouTube channel, which is cool. So yeah, I was really excited about this. Already backed it up right when I saw it, and a big fan of Dynamite, and just a big fan of their books, and that is why it's number one. I think it's really quality stuff, and once again, cool that we're getting a graphic novel for this one instead of just issue 1 and issue 2. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite Kickstarters? Are there any Kickstarters you are interested in backing up this month? I would love to know. So thank you guys. This is Comic Uno. Go check out my Kickstarter for Like File Like Daughter if you can. Go check out my Twitter and Facebook. And also every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time is Comic Book Weekly, our comic book podcast where we talk all things comics. Thanks guys. Bye.